Hi everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to talk about the sideboard guide for 5-color creativity. We're going to go through the top 10 most popular decks in Modern according to MTG Goldfish, and talk about how the proper way to sideboard it is for this 5-color creativity deck. So let's jump right into it. So the most popular deck in Modern is Hammer Time. Against Hammer Time, we want our artifact and enchantment hate. So we're bringing in our Nature's Claims and our Besejus. And the reality of the Hammer Time matchup is you're not given a lot of time to set up. So cards like Wrenn and 6 and Fable the Mirror Breaker are both pretty medium. Because Wrenn and 6 is only good if you are able to have time to like put your mana together. But I think against Hammer Time, you're in a situation where if your mana is not good and you need time to set it up, you're probably just going to die to hammer anyway. I like Fable the Mirror Breaker a little bit more because it provides a blocker for if they hammer you, you can like just block because it takes away flying, and it digs a little bit deeper. So I actually take out Wrenn and 6 because you don't have time to fix your mana. Yes, you really need the ability to fix your mana against most matchups, but you just can't against Hammer Time. I like the Spell Pierces. I like this interaction. Like Prismatic Command is nuts against Hammer Time. You know, I like the kill spells. We need to continue to play our combo, but we just want to interact more and understand that we don't have time to set up, so there's no point in playing Wrenn and 6. The second most popular deck is Murktide. So Murktide's pretty rough because they have a lot of counter spells. So we're bringing on our Flusterstorms and our Veil of Summers, so that we can win these counter wars, because the way they want to interact with us is either kill our guys with removal spells or counter us. They're really good at interrupting our combo and tempoing us out. And I like taking out Prismatic Command because it doesn't really kill anything in the deck besides a small DRC or Ragavan. If we're killing Ragavan on turn 3, it's already done its damage. And we are shaving on Fire and Ice. Ice is like great if you get in the perfect situation where you're able to tap down a blue source. The Fire, again, similarly to Prismatic Command, only kills Ragavan and a small DRC, but is a little bit better because it can kill Ragavan earlier or DRC earlier. And you can have that situation where you are able to tap down that second blue source or that one blue source and be able to untap and combo. You know, we want to play all these other cards. We want to play Lightning Bolt because it answers everything but Murktide. The game's going to be long because they have interaction, because we want to Wrenn and 6. We want to Fable for the same reason. We want to interact with Spell Pierce. Want to interact for less mana, or want to combo for less mana with Persist. I like Leyline Binding because we need to have interaction for Murktide. So this is how I like to sideboard. The Mirror Match is the next most popular deck. In the Mirror Match, we bring in Hallowed Moonlights, we bring in a Flusterstorms, and we bring in Veil of Summers. So Hallowed Moonlights just stops the combo. The cool part about Ignominable Creativity, or maybe the bad part about it, is that when you do it, you're committed to it. So you can't stop the destroying of your artifacts or creatures, and you have to reveal the top cards and put those cards onto the battlefield. So if you Hallowed Moonlight, it's always a blowout because the creature is destroyed, and the thing that you reveal out of your library is exiled, and you get to draw a card. And so that feels awesome. You play the Flusterstorms because it's important to win these counterspell battles. So you have more interaction for creativity and transmogrify. And we are playing Veil of Summer for a lot of reasons, right? It just is a just win for the counterspell battles. It doesn't necessarily stop Lightning Bolt from interrupting you, but it can stop these counterspells. Also, if they do end up Arconing you and you don't have any counter magic for it, you can Veil of Summer in response to the creativity so they don't get their first trigger. So it gives you like a little room to breathe. Maybe you can untap and Leyline or combo them yourself or something like that. Very often these like games play out, and I've had this happen multiple times, where your opponent combos first for like 2, you somehow don't have interaction. Veil of Summer in response to the combo, they tapped out for the combo, so they're just like in a ton of trouble. Untap, you combo for 2 on your own, they have to sack those Archons, and that just like happens all the time. In the Mirror Match, I choose to interact cheaply, and I would rather fight the counterspell war. So I actually cut Fire and Ice, I cut my Prismatic Commands, and I shave on Lightning Bolt. Leyline Binding, being able to hit the creatures in the late game is good enough. Also, it can deal with an Archon. It can get rid of a Fable. It can get rid of Wrenn and 6. I think Leyline Binding is excellent. The Lightning Bolts are better than these other interactive cards because they cost 1 mana. We don't want to have to leave a lot of mana up every turn. The games are going to go long, so we need Wrenn and 6. Spell Pierce we need for the interaction. Fable, the games are going to go long. We need to be able to answer their cards with Leyline. Like I said, we need to keep all of our combo pieces in because the games might go long. And so I'd rather interact counterspell wise because counterspells also protect my stuff. The fourth most popular deck is the Omnath deck. The Omnath deck, the games are going to go wildly long, and that's just a reality of the matchup. The Omnath deck is going to interact with you via counter spells most of the time, sometimes leyline bindings. So we are going to bring in a really similar suite as we do in the mirror match, just not including the Flusterstorms. I also like to bring in the Emrakul because the games go super long between leyline binding, against any Solitude deck. Having more win conditions is pretty important. Now, Lightning Bolt is just awful against this deck. It can hit Solitude, post board if they have Fury or something like that. They can hit that, sure. But the main card we're scared about is Omnath, or like Renin 6, or Teferi. And like off of pluses, it can't even kill those Planeswalkers. So Lightning Bolt doesn't really do a lot. And we're going to shave on some Fire and Ice. Again, similar to Lightning Bolt, Fire isn't going to kill anything to speak of. Ice is kind of cool because it can very often time walk them, especially since they're very often a 5-color deck. And the only other card we really can reasonably cut is Prismari Command. But Prismari Command, I really want to be able to dig and really bury my opponent in my combo. Games are going to go long, so we want the Renin 6 or Fable. We're going to fight the Counterspell Wars. We're going to play Spell Pierce. And being able to Spell Pierce things like Teferi, it's also very powerful. We need answers to the Omnath and the Planeswalker, so Leyline Binding stays in, etc., etc. Fifth most popular deck is Rakdos Scam. This deck makes me really sad. It's definitely a bad matchup. Against Rakdos Scam, we bring in Veil of Summer for the Thoughtseizes and the Greaves. And we bring in Emrakul, mostly because they bring in Necromentia. We kind of have to bring in Emrakul. I like bringing out an Archon. I want to stay at 4 total win conditions, especially, if we have Emrakul in our deck. Most of what devastates us against this deck is done in the first turn, so Fire and Ice doesn't really do anything or interact or really even time walk them. But if we survive the first turn, are able to get a Veil of Summer for on the play on the first turn, this ends up being a long, grindy matchup that we really need to bury them quickly and make sure they don't get any feet underneath them or anything. We can, being able to kill their Regavans, being able to kill a Grief after it's died and come back, the ability to draw Lightning Bolt is super important. Being able to dig for a combo as fast as possible, or even get a treasure so we can combo faster. The part that they can't interact with because they're red-black is all pretty important. Sixth most popular deck is Burn. Against Burn, we bring in Flusterstorm just to be able to stop some of those burn spells, which always feels really bad, but that's the life we lead. And we bring in Nature's Claim. So Nature's Claim can accidentally hit an Eidolon, but also a lot of cards in our deck make treasures, right? Prismari Command makes treasures. The token with Fable can make treasures if we attack. Also, we can hit Fable of the Mirror Breaker. If we really need to gain 4 life, we can gain 4 life with Nature's Claim. So we bring in that Nature's Claim. We bring out 1 Archon because the games aren't going to go long. We need every card we draw to be action against Burn. It's really, really important. If we resolve a single Archon, most of the time that's good enough. If we resolve 2, we're fine. If we draw all of our Archons, which I actually did in the finals of the Star Championship a few weeks ago, it's really unlikely. So we're okay with shaving 1 and going down to 3. And I absolutely hate Renin 6 in this matchup. So we're going to shave 3 of our Renin 6. So similar to the reason we bring out Renin 6 against Hammer Time, we don't have time to set up. If we're playing a Renin 6 and then playing around with fetch lands and blah, 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 it's not good. It's not going to happen. I do think Renin 6 is a little bit better than just a blank in Archon, which is why we're shaving an Archon, keep leaving 1 Renin 6 in. But I just don't think it's good at all. In fact, I think it's worse against Burn than it is against Hammer Time. Against Crashing Footfalls, which is becoming more and more popular in my area. I have to play against it a lot. We bring in the Flusterstorms just like we do against any Cascade deck. Bring in Veil of Summer because they want to fight over these cards really, really bad. We're bringing in Emrakul because they always run these extraction effect spells. And we're bringing in Hallowed Moonlight just basically as another counter spell for the Crashing Footfalls. And this one's kind of cool because we get to draw a card off of it. Bringing out Archon because we bring in Emrakul, bring out an Archon. The games are not grindy. These games end very, very quickly. Lightning Bolt doesn't do anything against my opponent's deck, at all. And sort of same thing with Ice side of, or the Fire side of Fire and Ice. And I'm not super interested in time walking. I'm okay. I'd rather be drawing cards. I'd rather be counterspelling their stuff, and I'd rather be resolving my own combo. Against Amulet Titan, which one of my best friends plays. These games can end super quickly, by the way. We are bringing in our Artifact Hate for Amulet, and our Enchantment Hate for Dryad of Elysian Grove. And Engineered Explosives, and they have a lot against this post board. Nothing else is really good against Amulet Titan. We'll have to leave in our Prismari Command because it's additional Artifact Hate. And I personally like taking out the Lightning Bolts. It hits a Boreal Grazer and Azusa. Azusa can be hit by Prismari Command or Fire, or just stopping the Summoner's Pact. And Lightning Bolt doesn't really hit anything else in the deck, and I'm more interested in resolving my combo, making sure my opponent doesn't resolve theirs, and Lightning Bolt doesn't really help with that. By the way, I do like Ice against Amulet Titan, because you can, like, delaying them is super important, because, again, it's whoever resolves their combo first for the most part. And being able to, like, tap down these double color lands, it just feels really, really good. Yawgmoth is the 9th most popular deck. This is definitely one of our bad matchups. Do not like it much at all. We're bringing in Veil of Summer for, like, Necromentia and Grist killing our guys and being able to, like, Veil of Summer before we even resolve anything if our opponent has a Yawgmoth, so they can't do it in response. It's all very powerful. I actually like Hallowed Moonlight because it hits Court of Calling and Eldritch Evolution. Both of those they can say no to, but that's totally fine. It's also really good against Undying because it's entering the battlefield and not being cast when they undie. So you can snipe stuff in that way, which frankly we need every edge we can get in this matchup, and being able to draw a card feels really good too. And we're bringing in our Emrakul because, again, they bring in Necromentia, and we need to make sure them saying Archon doesn't mean we just die. We're bringing out an Archon because we're bringing in an Emrakul. I want to stay at 4 combo pieces. We're cutting our Spell Pierces. It's Court of Calling, Eldritch Evolution. It hits a few extra things post-board, but they're a creature deck. Even their Planeswalker is a creature when it's not on the battlefield. So I don't want to be playing that game. Like, I want to be just, like, kind of letting them do their thing. I'll play the Hallowed Moonlight because it's kind of like a counterspell for the cards that this can actually counter. I found Spell Pierce just kind of rots in my hand, like, most of the time. Or I, like, flinch at the Spell Pierce in my hand when they play the Grist, and that's, like, the only action it gets. And we're shaving one of the Prismari commands because we're okay with digging a little bit deeper, but you're not really going to kill anything with Prismari command unless the Mana Dork has already done its damage, on turn 3. So, but you get to draw two, and discard 2. Digging deeper is always really important in these decks, and making that treasure again to ramp a little bit faster, or even being able to creativity the treasures so that they cannot interact with our combo. And the 10th most popular deck, according to MTG Goldfish, is Azorius Control. Against these straight control decks, we're bringing in Flusterstorm so we can fight the Counter War. We're bringing in Veil of Summer so we can fight the Counter War. We are bringing out Lightning Bolts because, like, it can hit Planeswalkers, but it's rarely going to kill any Planeswalkers. And we're bringing out 1 Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is pretty okay because, again, we can kind of time walk them. They can leave, like, Counterspell mana up, and we can just, like, tap down the second source. But really, we're just trying to dig with Ice, and I think that's better than Lightning Bolt. So that is the sideboard guide against the 10 most popular decks in Modern with 5-color creativity. I love this deck. I think this deck is so good. It's gotten me a lot of wins. I hope it gets you a lot of wins with the sideboard guide. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on other social medias. Links are above me and in the description, especially on Twitch. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.